Hi, it's Claire, your intuitive reader. I've been getting the death card over and over and over again. I was putting away about 15 decks from doing a mass reading, and I got the death card from almost all the decks. I was just flipping through them, and then they'd come up, and it would be the death card. And so I wanted to go more into what was coming up. I am getting that someone may die. Someone may, their life might have already ended and you're dealing with that, but I get that this is more of something coming in. And what I see happening is it has something to do with when this death happens, it's going, everything's going to move very quickly. It could be somebody, a parental figure, or someone who has an inheritance, and there's going to be a lot of movement that happens very quickly. So my download is that you need to get things in order. You need to make sure that they're not going in different directions when this happens, because see how the horses are veering off. And so when this ending, this death happens, it could even be job funding, but I'm getting death. It's just over and over again, death. And so you're going to have to make sure that everything's in alignment, everything's in progress, because it's going to get very chaotic with this Seven of Wands here. It's going to get very chaotic when this happens. This death is going to be kind of unexpected. Even if this person is on the older side, it's going to be kind of unexpected. So this kind of scares you because things are not set up. Things are not set up to go smoothly. If it's a job that's ending or a career that's ending, you don't have anything to fall back on. So that's going to cause a lot of discontent. So being very clear that this is going to cause some kind of very big upset. It could be globally, it could be through the government. Something is ending. Something major is ending. And it's going to cause a lot of panic. This I'm getting kind of like when people loot and riot because their government has done something. I'm getting sort of this uprising feeling, and I think you're feeling it too. I think there's a lot of movement, like there's a storm coming in, and the storm is going to be after the death, after the ending. Let's see, and then I feel like you have not really set yourself up for any alternative. You may have been living paycheck to paycheck, whether through not having the money matters or you just didn't set up anything. And so I think what you're afraid of is like you don't know what's going to happen. You're like, oh, I really don't have anything to grow this my life. I don't have, okay, let's just be more transparent. If someone died and you were dependent on them financially, there's nothing set up. And so now you're here kind of like in this childlike thing going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? If you had a career and everything was set up and now all the funding or all the money is gone from that. Like in my country, they're removing funding and putting pauses on scientific research. That's a big concern because a lot of our universities and stuff depend on that. So what do all these people do? And then that trickles down to the people they depend on. And then our, everything. So how, like we know that we get food from farms. We know how things grow to a certain extent, but we couldn't do it ourselves. We haven't set ourselves up in the place of like if we're depending on a family member and they pass away. And then we're like, okay, what do I do now? I have no way of making money. I live in their house or I dependent on them. And so this is going to cause a lot of chaos. Like there's going to be, if it's a death, then this person, everybody around you is going to be like going after every little thing. They're not going to even let this dust settle, the person not breathing for a few minutes till they start going after everything. And it's going to be very divided. It's very contentious relationship energy, fear. I'm getting a lot of fear. So what I'm asking you to do is ground yourself. See that, here I have to cover her up, but see how the water is like really calm back here, but there's a lot of waves and stuff around her feet, but it's not knocking her down because her cup is huge. This cup is bigger than the person. So really focusing on your mental well-being, grounding yourself, making sure that you have your ducks in a row, because there will be an opportunity that comes in, but you have to see it as that. Like, it may start it small, but you have to use your grounding techniques, your emotional stability. Like, really focus on stability right now. Like, things are going to happen. At least in my country, people are getting deported, and people's funding is getting taken away, their ability to buy groceries. The people who pick our produce, we don't have automated picking in this country. And so we use people. And I'm going to tell you, most of the people in our country will not do that. So they use illegal immigrants. And this is a known thing to produce our food and our way of doing everything. We depend on this undocumented labor. They don't even get the same rights as our citizens. But without them, we are useless. We won't have food. We won't have shelters, and a lot of things. We won't have clean facilities because factories will stop running. But this is meant to cause chaos. This is meant to cause a divide between citizens. And this is meant to cause a divide between even the foundation of our country, so that we are so busy, scared, thinking that the other person is doing something to us, is causing the problem, that we don't look and see that we have the key. We have the power to create a different world. And in doing this, we will, manifest something really beautiful. But we have to keep focused on how big it is. This cup is big enough for everyone. And instead of infighting and causing those issues, we can manifest a better reality. We have to put in the work. Like, when things end, it's an opportunity for us to create. But we have to put in the work. We cannot be in our laurels. We can't be divided. We cannot be infighting. We can't. Seeing something end is an opportunity for something to begin. Look, you have this giant Ace of Cups, and then the King of Cups is showing up. There is going to be someone, a leader, a person in your family, a person who's going to light the way. Maybe it's you, and they're going to rule with truth. See, with the blue here, and like from a higher perspective, but a very balanced, caring energy. This is the King of Cups. This is peace. This is, so I really like this because it's starting off as this divide, this conflict, after this ending, this death. But it's showing up at the end that there is going to be, we are stronger, like this crab. We are stronger than we realize, and we will adapt. Crabs are one of those things that there's all these different species that evolve into crabs, because it is a very adaptive organism. The way it creates itself, the way its system works. So you got grandmother and music. And so, yes, I'm asking everybody, instead of getting riled up and attacking each other and dividing and just going quickly in the direction that you think is right, the right way, to breathe, like grieve, realize that you are feeling this way, and then also connect to our ancestors. Our ancestors went through stuff that was similar. How did they deal? How did they deal with governments who took over? How did they deal with families that took over? How did they deal with losing their jobs and wartime? How did they deal with these things? They survived. They might have used music. So we're going to continue in part 2.